Live. Yo, yo, what's up? Full community, full sports. Mike Theory. We got Sebastian, Milo from the boxing mob in the place. What's going on, man?
Chilling, bro. Happy to be here. Pleasure.
Yeah, man. Let's talk some boxing, right? That's what we're here for.
100%. That's what I'm all about. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot to go on. Where do you want to start? Start with Ryan. Start with
I think, yeah, we got
Kenan.
to start with Ryan. I mean, let's
Yeah,
go back a couple weeks. Haney, Ryan. Yeah, the fight's over, but the
yeah,
conversation's still popping off.
yeah. It seems like it's gaining momentum, right? As
Maybe for the wrong reasons, but
yeah,
momentum and publicity is still good in this sport. Obviously,
yeah,
more eyes, more attention. Not for the right reasons, but still attention.
yeah.
PED allegations,
What do
all
you
this
think?
other stuff.
What do you think about all the allegations? So what are your thoughts right now? Let's little backtrack. What are your thoughts on the fight? Did you see it playing out the way it played out?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, look, I did think Haney would win. Even if you thought Ryan would win, there was no way, aside from Ryan and his family
Yeah,
thinking, that he was going to win this decisively. I mean,
yeah,
he destroyed Haney.
for sure.
It was an amazing performance by Ryan. I mean, simply put, he fought the fight of his life in every way possible.
Yeah.
So I was very impressed. Now, obviously, there's these allegations of PEDs, and that taints the win a little bit, unfortunately.
Even if they're not true, right? So even if they're not true, see if it comes out and it's negative because there's what I guess in the case of John Jones, picograms or like there's like
And
anything.
it's hard to pass judgment until you
Yeah,
really know the truth, right?
yeah,
Everything's just a theory right now. It's a criticism that's not yet, proved. So I mean, the thing is for me, like Osterine was the first substance, right? According to New York State Athletic Commission in Nevada,
mhm,
you're allowed to have zero point zero 0.01 milligrams. I mean, correct
yeah,
me if I'm wrong, obviously, but zero
yeah,
point zero 0.01 milligrams in your system, and it can derive from food or contamination, things
yeah,
like that. That's the one that popped off. And then the other one, nandrolone, which is an actual anabolic PED steroid,
yeah.
came back,
Negative.
negative.
Yeah.
So
So
there was
yeah,
nothing in his system in that one. So we're just talking about Osterine, and we're still waiting information. So it's
yeah.
hard to pass judgment whether he did or didn't.
Yeah, because they're saying right now from the original what he failed is like that is so like small that it won't even affect his performance because of ostarine. What it is, it's to help you lose weight
Yeah.
essentially. So and if you're using it to lose weight and keep your muscle mass, you're gonna have to use like 50 times what the like a natural dose would be. And technically it's not a steroid, it's a SARM. So it you know
Like a diuretic, essentially,
yeah.
to lose water weight. I mean, it does obviously have benefits
You
of
guys
muscle mass and
Yeah,
endurance.
but you have to use it for
You
a
need
certain
it.
amount of time. So you're talking about a week before the fight or
On
after
the
the fight?
14th, to your point, the test came back negative, the
Yeah.
first examinations anyway. So it
Yes.
wasn't in his system.
No.
It's a
So
weird one.
it's the 19th. That's what we're looking at, right? The date, the
Yeah.
19th. That's when they failed. The fight was the 20th. So between the 14th and the 19th, after he took that test on the 14th, which came out negative. So between then and the 19th, he started taking this ostarine.
Yeah.
That's what. So you think he are you really going to see that big of effects from the then to the 19th?
Look, if he popped for the nandrolone or these other PED
Yeah,
anabolic steroids that do not, we know the ways those get in your system. You have to
yeah,
inject them or certain ways that are not natural. If one of those was in there, then bring down the hammer, right? I
yeah,
get it. But for now, me personally, this is just me personally saying, I do side with Ryan on this one. I do
yeah,
believe, maybe there are some fishy things going on. He brought up a lot of interesting points. I was talking with him a couple weeks ago, actually last week in Vegas, for
yeah.
Canelo Munguia was out there. And yeah, there's just some suspicious things. I mean, we saw even I forget her title, but the head of New York State Athletic Commission in some
Yes,
capacity, she resigned. The
just
questions with
eh,
Victor Conte and Snack and
yeah.
Prada, and
She
Haney
could,
being the number one athlete in
yeah,
Snack. It's just weird, weird
yeah,
timing, weird for everything just being involved. It's suspicious.
yeah. Especially the only thing it's all of a sudden she can't handle the heat. What's coming along with it? Ryan has a big name, a big voice, and everybody can say what they want about him, about social media and all that stuff. But right now, that's working for his favor, right? Because now it's not just another boxer that they don't want that is trying to blackball or trying to stop the progression. You have a boxer that put on one of the best performances in a long time. Besides what Crawford did to Spence, this is in that nature. It's in
It's
that
up
realm,
there
yeah.
without a doubt.
And so now you want to go ahead and try to stop that momentum, but Ryan has a big name. He's a big follower, and he knows exactly how to use it. and you're not gonna stop him from speaking his mind. You're like, no one's gonna stop
Got
him.
a whole army behind him.
Yeah. So it's like, so now she's feeling the pressure, right? So she resigns. It doesn't look good.
I think regardless, it doesn't look good either, though, because just bringing up these allegations,
Yeah.
whether it's true or not, it does taint, unfortunately, the legacy
Yeah.
of an individual.
Yeah.
Look at Canelo with the clenbuterol stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
people still bring it up. You saw Oscar bring it up
Yeah.
with the shirt, eating
Oh,
the meat.
I love that shirt.
And it's funny, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
unfortunate that
yeah, I know.
it will always be a part of that person's history now
Yes.
moving forward,
Yep.
whether it's true or not. And
Yeah.
in this case, it's hard. I will personally say I can't pass judgment on what Ryan did or
Mhm.
did not do because we don't know all the facts yet.
No.
I would like to lean towards he didn't do anything because
Yeah.
I like Ryan. You know, I believe that he's honest in
Yeah.
that sense.
And with the PEDs and stuff like that with Ryan, it's not like that he's taking it and all of a sudden he has knockout power. He's been knocking people out. Haney's chin has always been suspect.
So against Lenari,
Yeah. So his chin, Haney's chin's been suspect. Ryan always had power, and when it comes down to that fight, that's the way that I saw the fight going. Not the performance, not all 12 rounds, but if Ryan was going to beat Haney, it was going to be by knockout.
yeah,
And so that's how I saw it. If Ryan didn't knock him out, I saw essentially how Haney fought progress. That's how I saw the fight happening.
a meticulous breakdown.
Yeah,
from start to finish.
exactly. I eat my words because, man, that left hook was so fast in that first round. I don't think Haney ever recovered from that first left hook in the first round. After that, he was on skates and he didn't look like Haney of the norm. He was overextending his punches and dropping his hand. So Ryan has a left hook, right?
Yeah.
But that right hand was landing also.
I think
So-
there's so many interesting narratives that still come out from this fight.
Mhm.
Like I even go back to should Haney's team have thrown in the towel? I mean, he was getting absolutely destroyed. And to your point, he never really recovered from that first hook,
No.
from that first knockdown. So I don't know. I mean, do you save him in the long run? We go back to Terrence Crawford versus Spence.
Yeah.
Maybe he had been saved earlier, stuff like that. Because this is whatever happens after the fact gets proven or doesn't, regardless, he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
And I like Haney a lot, you know,
Mm.
but it's a devastating loss that does really alter. It could, I'm not a fighter, obviously. I don't know.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, many people say,
Yeah.
it can alter drastically your career moving forward.
Yeah.
A loss like that.
Because it's not only like the physical beating you took, it's the mental. Because Haney was on that track.
Yeah.
He was the next best thing. He beat Lomachenko in a very, very close fight. I'm not mad that I'm not mad that they gave it to him because it was a really close fight. Personally, I did edge it toward Loma, and I've watched that fight after, and I still feel like Loma edged it just because of his movement and stuff like that. But it was very close. So you gave it to Haney. Okay, you go. You beat Cambosa twice.
In his backyard.
In backyard. The second fight was you beat him up. The second fight. So you beat Loma, then you move up and you destroy Progress. Okay, now you're undisputed. You move up, you get a bout. All right, now everybody thought he was just gonna walk through Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like,
But even with all that you mentioned, I don't feel like Haney has ever really gotten the respect he deserves.
No.
I mean, formerly undisputed 135,
Yeah.
WC champion at 140, which technically he still is.
Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
you know, whatever at that point. But still, the momentum was creeping up.
Yeah.
And now it's a massive reset.
Yeah, you're back at the bottom essentially. Like, yeah, you have the bout. You're still Haney. You're not at the bottom, but you're not calling shots really anymore. Like you have to fight somebody. You're gonna defend who you're gonna defend your bout against. You're gonna go against.
You need a tune-up.
You have to have a tune because you can't go straight into the waters and fight like a Teofimo or a Matias or a Cruz like at 140. Like no, like go. Maybe the winner of Cantrell and Josh Taylor.
There's a lot of options.
Like there's like
an
that.
interesting one just because it's the people's champion, Ismael Barroso at 140.
Yeah.
It's an entertaining.
Oh,
interesting fight.
yeah, but that's
I want that guy to I want Barroso to get
yeah,
a
but
shot.
that's not a good fight for Haney. Yeah, you're going up against another hard hitting puncher, and I think he hits harder than Ryan. Like, or maybe I don't know if he hits harder. I just know maybe he's just more solid because you can see you can see kind of like a better Vive where they're not throwing like hard punches, like power punches, but when they do land, you can see like, oh, they have an effect on somebody. Like when you see Benavidez having somebody in the corner and he's throwing punches, you're like, is he even throwing? Yeah, like is he throwing punches? But when you see the guy after the round, so I think that's kind of like where he's at. But that's not a good fight for him.
Yeah.
Like when you're saying a tune, maybe you need a tune up, like not somewhere you're gonna go into deep waters again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so what's next? Like, where do you see this playing out? How do you see this going forward?
I think it's really hard to dictate. I mean, until all the facts are proven in this case, in the allegations against Ryan Garcia with PEDs, it's hard to say what happens at all because, we have on Twitter the conversations about Errol Spence.
Yeah.
I think Ryan just put out a tweet today saying August 10th, let's do it in Texas.
Yeah.
Right? Great. But then Dan Rayfield and other people are saying, yeah, if you get suspended, though, forget about that because, supposedly he might, if this goes through, he will get suspended.
Yeah.
So what happens? I mean, it's hard to say
And
what fight should be happening next.
Yeah.
When is he going to fight again? Because this is holding him back right now. The allegations. Right
yeah,
now.
and
he gets through that,
I like how he's moving it, where he's playing like he's innocent, which right now he's innocent. For me, what I see, he's innocent until May 22nd, right? I think that's the date. They're saying that the B sample should be you get the results back, and if you look at it, what's very interesting is that when you're doing these tests, right? He failed the test, but then they're doing the B sample, and you're not getting the results back to May 22nd. Like that's such a long time, right?
The big one is that he cleared Angelo.
Yeah, because because that's anabolic steroids. Yeah. That one you have to inject.
The first one, Austrian, the question for me always was, what amount is it? Is it a trace amount or is it a substantial amount?
Yeah.
We're clearly on a cycle for something.
Yes.
It seems like it's very minute trace amount, 0.01 milligrams. So we're talking nothing.
Yeah, and then what are your thoughts on like how Haney's responding to this? Like that like
Haney was ready. Haney was ready with the video.
He just dropped a video. Yeah, he just dropped that video.
About to have a 30 for 30.
Yeah. And then his interview, was it an ESPN interview? Or was it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember on what platform, but yeah, I mean,
it was.
Look, Haney's gonna go out there and defend himself as he should. Though.
But does it seem a little
scripted?
Yeah, well prepared. He has a good.
Prepared. Which,
right.
Again, complete conspiracy theory out here, just throwing it out there for the conspiracy theorists. Because Ryan's one of those. I get it.
Yeah.
And he does have some validity in it. The fact that these guys were so prepared in knowing, this is coming out, let's ready to roll out the PR stunts and everything.
Yeah.
The defense of, this guy was on steroids, blah, blah, maybe adds to the credibility of these conspiracies of Victor Conte and Snack and Vada and the Snack Devin Haney being Snack's #1 athlete, active athlete.
Yes.
It's just a weird conflict.
And then the owner of Snack helping Vada in the very beginning stages, creating it.
Don't know is that his involvement in Vada, and obviously for those who don't know who he is, he's the Balco guy.
Yeah.
The mastermind behind Balco, the steroid, firm
for,
pretty much.
For baseball and everything.
Barry Bonds, all those individuals, and Sugar Shane Mosley and many others.
Yeah, and he was the one that was teaching all these athletes how to pass drug tests.
The nutritionist.
Yes, the nutritionist. Yes, and then now after they all got caught and that blew up, now he's an advocate for finding people who pot test.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's helping people. Go ahead that he knows that has relationships with.
Yeah.
AKA Snack #1.
Which is just weird though, because whether he is or isn't, it is a conflict. How does it make sense that Vada, which he's behind in some capacity, is then paying for the $40,000 fee to do the Vada testing, and then also has Snack in his back pocket as the nutritional company, with the athlete being Devin Haney, sponsored by Vada by Snack? That's a massive conflict of interest in my eyes. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it's a very big conflict of interest. Hey, can you hear us now? Somebody said they can't hear you, but I think we should be good now. Yeah. But it just doesn't make sense in any company or any situation. You're not gonna have something like that. Like it's counterintuitive. It's the conflict of interest. Of course, you're having a rival come from another company. It's like essentially having a spy and it's for fighters. It doesn't make sense. Why would you hire somebody that literally got in trouble for helping athletes pass drug tests. Like it, and then now, but he wants to change his ways, right?
Yeah.
I want to help you catch these
And I give people the
athletes.
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe it's true, but it's just a weird conflict of interest. Again, there's so many narratives
Yeah.
around this fight that will still be ongoing. That I do hope Ryan does get cleared because Ryan is great for the sport.
Yes.
No matter what you think of him as a fighter and his talents, he's amazing for the sport.
Oh, for sure.
Brings in a completely new audience, and also a new demographic,
And he's
a young demographic. He's very young.
And he's the only one fighting. Like when I'm saying, like when I'm fighting, when you have like, what do they call it? The Four Kings, right?
Yeah.
They had
Very different than the Four Kings back then.
Yeah, but like they're called supposedly the Four Kings, right? He's the only one that's fought two of them.
And I will give him a lot of credit to that point. I mean, in the last year and a half or so, he's fought Tank. He signed up for Devin Haney. I mean, won one, lost one, whatever. There's an asterisk next to it right now.
Yeah,
but he's taking on
he's
the
active
biggest and toughest fights.
And he's active. Tank's barely fighting his first fight after Ryan.
Activity is a big one.
Yeah.
Activity matters very much in boxing. And actually, I'll bring up to your point with activity. One that I was talking with Jim Lampley and a couple people a couple weeks ago about was who's pound for pound number one? Do you have it as Terrence Crawford? Do you have it as Naoya Inoue?
Now after his performance, I'm giving it to Inoue.
Yeah.
He's active and he's showing resilience. The way he came back from that drop in the first round, that's the first time he ever been dropped. He came back and he put a beating on Neary.
And to be honest, I did feel like that knockdown, and I'll have to rewatch it again. I thought his footwork, his positioning was a little off. He wasn't. He was resetting.
Yeah.
He wasn't properly set.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was a flash knockdown, but in my eyes, I don't think he was hurt or anything from it.
But
unfortunate that he went down for the first time. But to your point, he destroyed. It was a complete demolition after the fact, which goes to show the impact and the greatness of Naoya Inoue.
Yeah, and the only reason you give that nod, like maybe to Crawford, is maybe because he's moved up in weight. He's a two-weight division, but so is Inoue, right? He's also, but it's lower. I don't know, people see because he's a lower weight class or whatnot.
Yeah, the lower weight classes don't get respect. I go back to the Chocolatito days, super flyweights that they were the kings in those divisions too. Estrada, Chocolatito, Sor Ringvasai. And those guys never really got enough credit either because they're very, very small, lightweight guys. I don't know if that's necessarily the case with Naoya Inoue anymore. I think people really do respect and value him. And 122, 126 is pretty stacked, to be honest. I mean, 122, he's clearing out the whole division. I would like to see him move up to 126. I think there's some heavy hitters at 126. But I do personally give it to Naoya Inoue, number one, because activity matters. Activity matters. He's fought 3 times since Crawford has in July 29th of 2023. That makes a difference. And he's cleared out the division.
Yes. And I get where Crawford's coming from, because we're not saying Crawford and Inoue fight each other. That's not what we're saying. No, that's ridiculous.
Just in terms of pound for pound number one, who is better?
Just on the ranking list.
Correct.
Activity versus inactivity versus overall skill. Like, Crawford is amazing.
Yeah.
His IQ, we're not taking that away from him or nothing, but we're just saying, like, the activity, like Crawford, you have these chances to fight Ennis and like Boots, you have these opportunities to make these other fights. I know you're moving up a weight again, and he has a fight coming up
against Madrimov. Madrimov is one of those guys, WBA champion. He doesn't also get a lot of recognition because of where he comes from, and he's not a big name, it's a tough fight. I mean, it's still Crawford, though. I think Crawford,
I think it goes through him and
wins decisively. But
Crawford is strategic in what he's doing because of Fundora. If Fundora doesn't defend his belt at a certain time, or I forget exactly how it works, but if Fundora doesn't defend his belt right away, then I think he loses those bouts, right? And they go to Crawford or
I don't know where they go. I would assume they become vacant just based on the rules of it. Just like I think we saw, it was a while back when one of the belts went vacant and Shakur ended up fighting for a vacant belt.
Or like when the belts went vacant, they gave it to Tank.
Yeah. So, or even coming up May 18th, I believe it's Emmanuel Navarrete against Darius Berenchik.
Yeah.
Sorry if I butchered the name on him, but that's a vacant belt as well. And
that's an interesting fight too.
Yeah.
Navarrete, and then if Cruz comes back down to 140, that's a good fight.
The fight I want to see down the road, probably a couple years from now. Naoya Inoue against Junto Nakatani. I'm a huge fan of Junto Nakatani. I think
At 126, that's a dangerous fight. I mean,
Yeah.
especially in Japan at the Tokyo Dome. I mean, that's a monstrosity of an event, to be honest. But I don't know.
It's a little bit of ways. I could see that, and for Nakata to get more experience, and then I don't know, man. That's interesting.
But going back to like the number one pound for pound Inoue and Crawford, talking to Jim Lampley a couple weeks ago, he brought up something really interesting to me, which I want to get your thoughts on too.
Okay.
He said there's a difference between. He said, this is how I define the face of boxing. How do you define the face of boxing? He said there's a difference between face of boxing and pound for pound.
Mm-hmm.
What he was saying was, which I agree with him, his opinion was Crawford was number one pound for pound. I disagree on that. I think it's Inoue. But he said the face of boxing is Canelo because there's dollar for dollar and then there's pound for pound, which are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that very fascinating because I think he's right.
Yeah.
Canelo is still the face of boxing. He's dollar for dollar cash king. But he's not necessarily pound for pound number one. You know, he's not. You know, some people give it to him just whatever, but he's not. It's Crawford or Inoue, one or two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just curious what your thoughts on that one was.
It makes sense to me. So it makes sense to me. Nobody's gonna can take over the face of boxing until Canelo's gone.
I agree.
Because he's this generation's Mayweather, right? They had that transition. Mayweather retired, Pacquiao retired. Now who's left? When you go to the mall right now, and you just ask a random person, who's the most famous boxer right now in boxing? They're gonna say Canelo. Who's the face of boxing, or who do you know that's boxing?
Yeah,
they're gonna say Canelo. Everybody's gonna say Canelo.
No, you're right.
You'll get the Ryan Garcias because
you get Tank too.
You get Tank.
And looking at Tank a couple weeks ago in actually on I think it was Saturday morning, the day of the fight, May 4th, we had a press conference. Tank and Frank Martin with PBC. I mean, Tank, when he walked out, the fans just all around him. He was signing autographs, taking photos. Like, you can see he really does get that recognition too, but it's not of the magnitude that Canelo gets it at.
No way.
Canelo's still face of boxing.
For sure.
Dollar for dollar.
Oh, yeah. And then I agree. Inoue or Crawford. After that performance, I say Inoue.
Yeah.
Inoue 1, Crawford 2. Of course, we'll see after this next fight, his performance, he might go back up to number 1.
Fair.
And especially if he goes undisputed again at 154, like that's a 3-division undisputed champion.
Yeah, unheard of. I mean, that's crazy, man.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Crawford finally getting the respect he deserves. But I understand, at least my opinion, of why he's been so inactive.
Mm-hmm.
He's up in age. What is he? 36?
36.
All right.
I think he's going to turn 37.
He's chasing the bag. Yeah. I get it though. I mean, he's on Riyadh season. The August 3rd is Turki Al Sheikh's Saudi money fight.
Yeah.
Chase the bag. I get it. I mean, you've done so much already. Get what you deserve. Mm-hmm. I can't hate on that.
Yeah. And he's probably not even thinking pound for pound list. Right? He's already been on. He was number 1 for a long time. He's undisputed 2-time. Like he's kind of cemented. Like as a boxing legend. Like he's done things that nobody's done before.
He can only add to the legacy. Can't take away from it.
And right now he's being strategic because like if he wins the August 3rd fight, Fedor fumbles the bag and like doesn't defend in a certain amount of time, he loses his 2 bouts. He has 2 bouts.
Yeah.
So now Crawford. I don't know if. Is there only 1 bout or 2 bouts on that line?
I thought there was 2.
There's 2.
There's 2. WBA and it's a WBO interim, I believe it is.
Oh, interim. Okay, so so it's one real bout.
1, yeah.
Yeah. So he's getting the 1 bout, but then there's those 2 bouts are now going to be vacant.
Exactly.
He can fight for those and get those 2. Now he has 3.
It's a good strategy when you think of it. Yeah,
and
you
get
the bag.
Yeah, and it's smart. It's smart. So I see where he's going. That's what I want to see. Virgil Crawford. At 154.
That's a tough. I mean, he's got a tough test in front of him first. Virgil and Tim Tszyu. I mean, that's a main event in itself.
Yeah, that's a fight.
A lot of the fights on that card are main events.
I'm happy for Virgil for getting that fight.
And now I understand why, because speaking to him in Fresno, he didn't even know he was getting Thomas Dulorme as his opponent. And I was thinking, like, Thomas Dulorme? I mean, the guy has never fought at 154.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of been washed. I mean, what the hell? Like, why Thomas Dulorme? And then you last fought, Fred Lawson. You walked through him.
Yeah.
You know, 2 dead bodies pretty much. But now it makes sense, the strategy of why they gave him, you know, those people to walk through 2 rounds in a couple minutes pretty much. He finished them between the 2 to set him up for this massive fight against Tim Tszyu. And he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready.
He looks ready.
He's definitely ready, and this is what he needs. This is what he needs this fight. He knocks out Tim Tszyu.
Yeah.
If he knocks out Tim Tszyu, that sets up a fight for a belt.
Yeah. And he's not weight training himself anymore.
No,
You know, 'cause
he's
he was
healthy.
struggling
Oh, yeah.
at 147. You
Oh.
can see how drained he was. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
Because so now, who does he fight next? Who does he fight next after he beating Tim Tszyu? Does he go and maybe try to get the Crawford fight, or if Crawford's fighting for a bout, Charlo's out the picture now.
I think there's a lot of options, and I just look at it also from a business perspective, not even just what fans want. Boots Ennis is now signed with Matchroom. It's at 147. You know,
Yeah.
if he moves up, you know, interesting, whatever. There's always that allure of it. It's an easy fight. Golden Boy Matchroom under the zone umbrella. Unrealistic because 2 different weight classes right now. But yeah, I think you stay at 154 and you fight, you know, Fundora. I hate calling it the easier route, but
Yeah.
of the people who hold the titles, you know,
Yeah.
you're imagining Crawford beats Madrimov, right? Fundora has the other 2. Yeah, you're probably gonna want that one.
Yeah, but you know Crawford's gonna push for that Fedor fight.
Yeah,
Like,
fair
so
enough.
it's like,
and he's gonna get it first. He
for sure.
rightfully deserves it.
So do you make Spence and Ortiz? Because that fight's not being talked about, but
Cool one in Texas, a massive throwdown in Texas. Think of it. Yeah.
And Ortiz, I mean, Spence he wants to be at 154. He walked into the ring with Fedor. Remember, like,
I just think, I don't know. I mean, what does Spence really gain from that? I think Spence, after a beatdown from Crawford, which is a life-changing beatdown.
Yes.
You should retire, to be honest, after a beatdown like that.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people were talking about. But if not, you chase the bag, get the highest paydays you can get, and walk away a financially free man, pretty much.
So you're saying try to make that Garcia fight?
I think the Garcia one makes more sense in that capacity. Against Virgil, extremely risky.
Yeah.
Virgil's a knockout artist, and you're not going to gain the same financial independence that you would from a Garcia fight, of course.
For sure. And for Garcia, it makes sense for him too. Yeah, he'll move up in weight, which is fine because he's a big dude anyways.
Yeah, I just don't see it at 160. That's crazy.
No,
it's got to be 154.
Yeah, 154 makes sense. You know, Garcia, he's quick.
Yeah.
So he called him out. He said, "I'm sending the contract. I got my lawyers 160."
Yeah.
Like, it sounds good, like 160.
And he, you know, probably walks around, give or take, around that weight. He's a big dude too.
Yeah, he's probably at least like 175, 168.
Yeah,
70,
but it's just not realistic.
Well,
at 160 in my eyes.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because then he's not cutting no weight. Like, I'm not really a big fan of cutting weight, but everybody does it, so it makes sense. So do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
And Garcia hates to cut weight. That's if you know, you know.
To your point.
Yeah,
he's never really made one.
No.
He's never actually made one. He's never fought at 140.
He's never made
weight.
He's never made weight anywhere.
And it's all strategic, even in the build-up to the Haney fight. He did it purposefully.
Yeah.
I get it. And it's a smart move when you really think of it. Is it cheating? Is it not? Some people say it is. Some people, but technically, it's not illegal. It's not wrong. I mean, he paid his due. He paid
2.1 million.
Yeah,
I know everybody says 1.5.
Behind the scenes, technically, I think it was Bill Haney who said it was 600,000 plus a percentage.
Yeah, it's the 1.5 million to Haney camp, and then he has to pay the commission 600,000. So it's 2.1 million, and
Trump changed to him.
Yeah, he made 12 million off a bet.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
it was a smart move.
And that's the reason Haney's not dumb either. That's the reason why he made that bet, that 500, because he knows Ryan's never fought at 140.
Yeah.
He's never fought at 135.
Even his dad on stage was funny at the press conference. He's like, nah, don't do that.
Yeah.
They knew. They knew he wasn't going to make the weight.
No.
I think when we saw that, we realized, oh, shit, he's not making the weight.
Yeah.
But, you know, smart move.
Oh, for
Look
sure.
what happened.
So who do we got? We got Kambosos and Lomachenko coming up.
I put it before I even get to who I think wins, which obviously is Lomachenko, my ass.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I give a lot of credit to Kambosos. He's milked the hell out of his fame and everything since the upset on November 27, 2021 against Teofimo Lopez. But he's done an excellent job.
Yeah.
Because I remember being at that fight and post-fight, Kambosos was already knocking out media stuff in Australia, you know, doing Zooms and stuff with different media for like a whole day with us, right? And since then, he's just been doing media tours, getting all these massive fights, fighting back in Australia. I think he's done a great job carrying on that win. Yeah. You know, I think he deserves everything that's coming his way and has come his way, you know, with the Haney fights and obviously now with the Lomachenko one. But I don't think he stands much a chance against Lomachenko.
No.
Although maybe Father Time takes its toll on Lomachenko. He said in an interview the other day, I saw a quote where he said, you know, he's thinking about retirement. I mean, you just don't know anymore. Yeah. The age is catching up. He's not the same guy. The recovery is not the same. I think that's the only shot that Kambosos has is if Father Time catches Lomachenko by the time he steps in that ring.
Yeah, I think so. Like, because if it doesn't, Lomachenko's movement, His
Yeah.
style is just, it's too much for Kambosos.
Beautiful.
Kambosos is too flat-footed
Yeah.
to keep up with Lomachenko. So somebody said Usyk and Fury. Yeah, that's next week. This week,
May 18th, right? Yeah.
But this week is
This week, yeah,
is
Loma,
is Loma and
Kambosos,
Kambosos
and then Usyk Fury.
next week.
Usyk Fury May 18th.
Man,
I know size is obviously a big difference in this one. I'd like to lean towards Usyk. I really
he's
do.
good.
I like him a lot. He reminds me of the Evander Holyfield. You know, he did everything at cruiserweight. Now he's a heavyweight. Obviously, the 2 wins over Joshua. He's done a great job at heavyweight. And I think, you know, he had a time period where obviously he was a little distracted for good reasons with the stuff going on in Ukraine and going back to his home country and all that. You can't take that away from him. Lomachenko did the same. But I don't think size is an issue for Usyk.
No,
Look
I don't
at what
think
he
so.
did against what, 6'6" Joshua.
Yeah.
And yeah. Okay. 3 more inches with Fury.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an issue.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a really, really good fight. It's going to be interesting the way Usyk's going to carry that weight
Fair.
of Fury, because you know Fury's going to
Lean on you and
he's going to
stuff.
lean
He's
on
gonna
you.
tire out.
Yeah, he's going to throw his jabs,
Good at that too.
and he's really good at throwing his jab and then shortening that jab to close the distance. So that's what I love about Fury. He's for a big dude, he's really light on his feet, and then he just knows how to maneuver that jab.
True.
So he's throwing that jab, and then he shortens it, where now all of a sudden it's short, and then that distance closed, and then now he's on top of you, and now he's clinched. Now you're clinched up, and you're carrying that weight.
Fair.
So, but Usyk, his movement, the way he works the angles, and how he cuts the ring off. That's what I'm interested to see. The boxing and the movement of Usyk, and then just the heavy punches and the heavy weight of Fury, and how that's going to play out, and then the jab of Fury.
To your point, I think Fury needs to use those tactics in order to negate the skill set of the boxer, the technician that is Usyk.
Yeah, because his head movement, his footwork is good. Like you saw, if you watch that fight against Joshua, you see it. Like it's just
it's beautiful. It's master class. But I would like to give the benefit of the doubt to Usyk in my opinion in this fight. I just think it's time for a changing of the guard.
I think
over there at the heavyweight.
I like Fury though.
I like him too.
And
I don't count the Ngannou thing, because that was a joke. I mean, I don't think Fury really took it serious. No. He didn't expect Ngannou to really have all that. So I throw that one aside.
Yeah. No, I don't even think about that.
Nah.
But he's taking this one serious. You can tell he's really focused. He hasn't really talking too much trash that he normally does.
Yeah.
So
and he looks good. I saw a photo yesterday. Where he actually looks ripped.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
So do you take Tyson Fury being quiet? Because he's still out there, but he's really quiet for a build.
Tyson Fury is a dangerous Tyson Fury, because he's a dedicated and focused Tyson Fury. And when he's not, obviously, like you saw, fine, go to the Ngannou one, he was talking a lot of shit and obviously not very focused, and you saw what happened.
Yeah.
He's not going to make that mistake twice. But then I just feel like Usyk has always had the right discipline.
Yeah.
And I just like him very much stylistically and as a technician, as a boxer. So, you know, I will always go with the boxer over, you know, whatever. But then again, I mean, look at Haney Garcia, the boxer versus the power punch. So whatever. So, anything's possible. That's boxing.
The fan in me wants Fury to win, so we can finally get Joshua and Tyson Fury. That's just a fan of me. Joshua's been looking better.
Yeah. And
then what he did to Ngannou, and you can see it. You can see the punch coming. Yeah. Like you can see the setup in that. And then I love the way he responded when he won. Nothing. Like, this is nothing. I made money. Now let's get to the real fight. And the fan in me wants Fury to win, just so we can finally get that fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's been long overdue, that fight.
Yeah.
That's a fight that, imagine over there in Wembley or Hotspur Stadium would, I mean, be a massive sellout. Same thing like I was talking about Inoue versus Junto in Japan. I mean, in the UK, that's a monstrosity of an event. Although, I will say, like, I actually really want to see that one day, maybe not now, because he doesn't deserve it now. Ruiz trilogy. There was so much allure in the first one and the second one. The second one, to me, Ruiz never took it serious. He partied too much after the first one, and whatever he did, right?
Whatever
God knows what he did, but there was a lot he did. But I don't know. I think the allure of a trilogy would be super cool to see one day. One day. He doesn't deserve it yet.
No.
But one day maybe.
If he wins this fight August 3rd, and then if
He needs something more even after that one.
yeah, so if Wilder can win, then maybe they can set that up because Wilder's kind of trying to get back into the things.
To your point, I think he needs, the Jared Anderson, Miller, sorry, that's his friend. So, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to go through a Hergovich. He needs to go through a Zhang. He needs to go through a Wilder. Get one of those or win on your column with one of those names after Miller.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about a trilogy, maybe.
Yeah, because I think this is the perfect fight for him to come back to because I think he just had back surgery as well. So he's been off for a long time. He's had surgery. He's fighting back in LA on a massive card against not an easy fight.
No,
not an easy fight, but it's not a big name. It's not a tough fight.
Not what he used to be.
Yeah, no.
2019 Miller was something else, but not now.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna call it a walk in the park. I'm not maybe a little bit harder than a tune-up because he's still dangerous.
Yeah, he's got hands.
He's still got hands, so he's still dangerous. So, but I think it's a perfect fight for him to come back to. You win this fight in fashion, and then you can go in and try to get that Wilder fight. Because that was the talk, right? Yeah. Wilder said that he priced himself out or whatever. But
Ruiz priced himself out too, though. And maybe even more so than Ruiz. Ruiz Senior, the father, is really what priced everybody out.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but good to actually see him back, and he looks very focused. I talked to him in New York a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, at that press conference.
Yeah, at the April 3rd press conference out there in New York. He looks good. He lost weight. He looks really solid. He seems very disciplined and focused. He had a nice aura and energy to him. Yeah. So it's the old Andy Ruiz that we saw before in 2019. That feels like, at least. We'll see.
Now let's get into it. Canelo Munguia.
Yeah.
Did the fight live up to the hype?
Yeah, I was there. I honestly did feel that it did. In the build-up, I will say, I was talking to some other buddies and stuff, like, during fight week, it did not feel like a Canelo fight week. It was an underwhelming experience. Not a lot of fans out there. It was just a little dead. Friday, the day of the weigh-in, people showed out. And I have to say, pretty good mix. 60-40, it felt like, of Canelo and a lot of Munguia fans. Yeah. People showed out from TJ.
Munguia has a fan base.
And it was nice to see. Yeah. And it felt almost like the vibe was like, oh my God, we're going to see a changing of the guard. Like a lot of fans out here, right? At least from the fan perspective. In the fight itself, the first couple rounds, I thought Munguia did a great job sticking to the jab, moving a little bit better. You could see the work he's put in with Freddie Roach has showed off a little bit more in the first early rounds.
Sure.
But I think he gassed himself out.
Mm-hmm.
And Canelo, as meticulous as he is, he's a counterpuncher. He waits a little bit more. He was feeling it out. And as you saw in the later rounds, obviously breaking down the body. And then Munguia had the phone up pretty much. And then once he kept taking it to the body, you saw that hand move down completely. Yeah. And it left him open, obviously, for the hooks and the uppercuts.
And showcased his chin.
But it lived up to it. I thought Munguia, even in the loss, he won. And what I mean by that is he became much more of a superstar. Mm-hmm. He earned a lot of respect. Yeah. He fought. He fought his ass off. He went in there to win, not like what Charlo did.
Yeah, no.
He went in there to win. He earned a lot of fans. He earned a lot of respect. And I think we're gonna see a much better Munguia because of it.
Oh, for sure. It's the what's the word I'm looking for? But it's the effect. Like you get the iron sharpen the iron type of effect. So like the conspiracy. We talk about conspiracies. Let's get into another one. It's Munguia is 43-0. Was 43-0.
Yeah.
Canelo was 43-0 when he fought Mayweather. Canelo got schooled by Mayweather.
As Oscar said.
And then now Munguia got schooled by Canelo. So if history repeats itself, in the next 3 years, you're gonna see Munguia as the face of boxing, or one of the faces of boxing, because there's competition right now.
At least the face of Mexican boxing. Yeah. I think you bring up a great point. We were talking about earlier of this fight and the potential outcome of what could have happened before the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like 2013 Canelo versus Mayweather.
Yeah,
not the same, obviously, right? They were at different levels at that point.
Yeah,
but the same in the sense of a young phenom and star going up against an all-time legend. And maybe it was a little too early for Munguia, but it didn't feel like that way. You know what? No. He fought a great fight.
Yeah.
He went in there to win. Did Canelo carry him in the end? Maybe not, right? But it was a good fight. It was a good fight. The atmosphere was electric, amazing.
I forget what round it was, but
12, I think, right? Where the last
Was it maybe, or I don't know, but there's a combination that Canelo threw, and he had that left uppercut, and he
went around him a little bit.
No, he pulled it back.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
like he threw, I think he threw like a jab, then like an overhand right, and then he like moved to the side.
Yeah.
And he went for that uppercut, and he pulled it back.
I remember. Then Munguia went to the ropes, did a
Yeah.
little bit of like back on the ropes, and then it was a weird one.
I screamed. Like
Yeah.
I stood up. I thought it was over. I thought everybody looked at me like, what? Like he didn't even throw a punch. Yeah, but I don't know. I just seen a left, like it was a left uppercut coming from the side, and he pulled it back.
Yeah.
And then I'm like looking, and he was open.
He was.
And I was like,
I think Canelo had a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we'll never know if he really held him up or whatever. I mean, that's for Canelo to say, not for us to say. But I do feel like he just had so much respect for Munguia. He was winning the fight at that point. There was no need for anything more.
No, he knew, and I feel like he knows exactly what he's doing. Like
It's all strategic. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gave Munguia some shots. Like, and Munguia didn't go down. He only went down because of that setup that he did in, was it the 5th round when he went down? That setup that Canelo did was insane. That check left hook and then that uppercut, that right uppercut was so fast.
From the start, it looked dangerous already because like Munguia at a certain point he kept ducking, and it's telegraphed.
Yeah.
For somebody like Canelo, he sees that. You keep doing it over and over again. I mean, come on.
And then you can see like in the very beginning he was staying in the pocket a little bit too long, and then he'll come out and like reset and then go back in. If he was a little bit, his footwork a little bit more faster, getting out of that pocket, and then or you want to come out fast, staying slow, like switch it up.
I think it was Canelo said that after something about like he felt Munguia was a little slow in terms of stepping out.
Yeah, because Canelo looked fast.
Yeah,
like he looked good. Like everybody, all the talk. I think maybe too like people just talking about how he's on the downside of his career, and that starts influencing your opinion and stuff. And so when I'm watching the fight, I was like amazed, like how smooth and how fast and how crisp like Canelo looked, and he was look good. And then that's what Munguia's issue has always been, where because he throws a lot of punches, so his conditioning.
When you have a high volume output like that, I mean, he throws prior to that fight, he was throwing 80 punches around. Canelo at 40. That's high volume. I mean, you're gonna gas out.
Oh, for sure. But he looked good. I think that's his only second fight with Freddie Roach, if I'm not mistaken.
Second or third, yeah.
Second or third fight.
Early though.
It's
very
early, like,
still.
And you can, I've been watching Munguia for a long time. I've seen him live a couple times already. I like him. Yeah. Like I was really like, I'm really big on him, and then I like him even more with Freddie Roach.
I agree,
because he just looks so much better, bro. Like imagine after he's gonna take those lessons, because learning and training is one thing, but being in there with one of the all-time greats and having that live ring experience, and then you go 12 rounds, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time in the ring.
The confidence booster.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Man. And he already has a big fan base, and that's the point of the whole Canelo Benavidez stuff. It's like, what does Benavidez bring? I went to go see Benavidez in Vegas against Demetrius Andrade.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't sold out, and then they have you've had a couple names on the card under you, and it's not a big arena.
Yeah, it was his brother against Charlo, and it was a cool card. I watched the pay-per-view. I wasn't there, but
it was a cool card. But it wasn't like, you're not selling out. You can't sell out Michelob Arena, like that's a small arena.
I think it was smart of Benavidez though to get on the co-main event of Tank's fight though. I think it's a good move.
It's a good move for him, because to try to get
a new demographic,
new eyes, and everybody's right now. Everybody knows kind of who he is because he's calling out Canelo.
Yeah, and
then Canelo has a big hate following.
He always will. I mean, that comes along with anyone who's successful.
Exactly.
Let's be real. But with Benavidez, I mean, talking to him last week too, I liked his approach of him. Pretty much, he was saying that, look, I can't chase Canelo anymore. Yeah. At the end of the day, I've made my intentions clear. I want the fight, but it's up to Canelo at the end of the day. Yeah. I gotta move on to bigger and better things at the end of the day. I think in that approach, maybe he will get the fight in 2025. Because why do you think Munguia got the fight? Yes, as good as Munguia is, whatever. He got the fight because he's extremely respectful towards Canelo. And why do you think maybe Berlanga might be getting the fight in September? He didn't. Berlanga doesn't deserve that fight. What has he done?
Yeah, no.
No disrespect. I like the guy. Obviously, I like Berlanga a lot. But what has he done to earn a Canelo fight? Yeah. He's earning it because some business behind the scenes, and also because he's massively respectful. I mean, saw him the other day on Instagram singing to Vicente Fernandez, waving a Mexican flag. I mean, come on, bro. Like, I know. That's kissing up.
Yeah, well, the whole thing with Benavidez, I like the angle he played, but I don't feel like if you're gonna play that bully angle, that like I'm the Mexican monster, that angle, like live up to that name and play that angle.
Yeah.
Then do it the right way.
Yeah, fair
Like
enough.
go out there and beat those people, because that's the angle you're playing, right? He's saying Canelo's afraid of me. If Canelo is afraid of Benavidez, okay, he's afraid, but I don't think he's afraid.
No, I don't think so.
But so Benavidez is moving up, right? He has his fight
175 against Govodskic, or however you pronounce his name. Yeah.
So you have that fight at 175. Benavidez just got hurt. He's not fighting. The way I look at it is, if you want that Canelo fight, Benavidez drops out. You should have been on Instagram. You should have been
guy who beat him.
Yeah, you should have been at the press car. You should have been. I want the Bivol fight. I want that Bivol fight. Call for it. Go and get that. Try to get that Bivol fight. At least try to get it, and go out there and beat Bivol. And now you have two things that Canelo wants.
True.
You could be like, I got what you want, Canelo. Now let's fight.
True, but I feel like to that point, a fighter perspective, I'm sure, like, oh, you don't fear anyone, whatever, go for it. Yeah. From a business perspective, it's a high risk and not even close to the amount of reward that would garner, obviously, Canelo or any other fight. It's too risky. It's too risky for very little reward, probably in his eyes, I would think.
Maybe, but even if you don't get the fight, it looks better for you.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's better than Govodskic. Yeah.
yeah. Come on, like and you're gonna get two bouts, and you're gonna beat the guy that beat the guy.
To your point, you're all about opportunity, right? Well,
yeah, exactly.
Opportunity came open for you right there.
Exactly.
Take it.
Yeah,
of course.
So, who's really scared? Is Benavidez out there just because he wants to fight Canelo and he wants to be a weight bully, or he's waiting for an opportunity to come because he feels like he deserves it, or is he not scared? And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And behind the scenes, that they already had a backup and it was already locked in or whatever. But even if they did that, you should have your media guy, your management saying, "Hey, go make a video and call for the fight." You're not going to get it, but go ahead and call for that fight to make it look like, hey, you're trying to make the Canelo fight happen one way or another.
I agree with that. I just think some people will admit it, some people won't. The reality is, I feel like everybody wants the Canelo payday. Yeah. You want the bag. At the end of the day, he's dollar for dollar number one, Canelo. He's the cash king. Is Benavidez going to admit it that way? Probably not, right? But let's be real. That's a massive factor as to why they all want the fight.
Oh, for sure. And shout out the rest in the chat. Of course, I'm not saying Benavidez is going to beat Bivol. That's a hard fight. Bivol is one of the best boxers out there.
Footwork.
Yeah, he's incredible. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if Benavidez really wants that Canelo fight, and you're
it's
saying
a good route to take.
Yeah, that's for me. What I see, that's the best route to take.
Because Canelo's argument has always been, oh, well, then go fight other people and earn the pedestal to get to me.
Yeah, so that
to your point, if he fights Bivol, the guy who beat him and beats him, I mean, you can't run away from that no more.
Yeah, so Canelo always said that to Benavidez, go fight. All you guys fight, and whoever wins, I'll fight you.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah, it's fair. And so he says that, and then also Benavidez doesn't bring nothing to the table. Well, now he's gonna go out there, and if he beats Bivol, he beats somebody that Canelo lost to, and now he's bringing two bouts to the table, two things that Canelo wants.
Yeah.
He went up there and he went to try to get those bouts. He didn't get them. So now you're bringing something to the table, and you're going out there and fighting. You're doing what Canelo said, right? Yeah. So be the Mexican monster and go and try to get these fights. But I didn't hear one mention of that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I do think realistically, and my opinion is that September we see Berlanga versus Canelo. I also think it because me noticing Berlanga there all these weeks. He was in New York. He was in Vegas, following around during Canelo. Obviously, you saw the social stuff he put out. All of us fans, from a fan perspective, nobody wants to see that fight. We obviously want to see the Benavidez fight.
Yes.
But if public demand is telling you, no, we don't want to see this fight, and yet the topic of conversation, Berlanga-Canelo, still somehow exists and lingers, my theory of it is that's because both Canelo's team and Berlanga's team want it to happen.
Yeah.
That's why this name is still being kept alive.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think, I mean, it's too obvious that fight's gonna happen in
and
September.
it's like, I guess, like, it's the whole history of boxing as well. Like
Mexico, Puerto Rico.
Mexico, Puerto Rico. It's a big fight. Like, it's a big in the countries, like, and just the history of boxing in general. Like, it's a big thing. Berlanga is good. He got power. But he's very
entertaining.
He's entertaining. He's young and he's very inexperienced. He has a lot of holes. He leaves a lot of openings.
100%.
Canelo's gonna.
I don't think it's a close fight.
No, it's not
even.
I think Canelo ends that fight early.
I don't even think it's worth our breath, to be honest.
No.
Like, that's how
And
simple of a fight it will be for Canelo.
for sure. The Plant and Berlanga fight, that makes way more sense, especially because Charlo's out of the picture now. He pretty much threw up the white flag.
Yeah, and you said earlier, I mean, Berlanga needs a name.
Yes.
And Plant would be a fantastic name to get on your belt.
Because Plant is still respectful.
Yeah.
Respectful. Like, he still has a respectful name because the performance he gave Canelo, he was winning that Benavidez fight. He just, like, similar to like a Usyk or Fury, he just couldn't handle like the weight.
Yeah.
And then just the punches, like, there are just heavy punches coming. And
Plant as a person he's about that action.
Yeah.
I mean, he's bark and bite. You know, he's just not one of them. He's both. He's all about it.
Oh,
so
for sure.
it'd be an all action show. I mean, that'd be great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It would be a really good fight because Plant's defense, his head movement is really good. So, and Berlanga got the power, but Plant, he knocks out people out too. So I think that just makes more sense for both fighters.
Yeah.
It's either way. If Berlanga fights Canelo, he's gonna make money.
People will watch.
Yeah, they're gonna watch it. But
it's Canelo. People always watch that.
I don't know. He says Canelo does nothing to Benavidez, and Benavidez beats up Bivol. I completely disagree. Let's go. I completely disagree with that comment. We'll go watch Munguia and Canelo. That's exactly what's gonna happen when Canelo fights Benavidez. The Munguia Benavidez, same type of fighter.
Forward aggression, volume, puncher.
Yeah, but yeah, Benavidez is faster. He's bigger. He's longer. But Canelo's always fought bigger, longer guys. Pause. But the thing is, like, he's gonna do exactly what he did to Munguia.
I think, to your point, look, what people saying, oh, Canelo held up Munguia. I think Canelo's playing possum a little bit. I think he's being very strategic, making people think he ain't got it no more. He don't have the power. He don't have this no more. He's getting old, whatever. He's playing possum.
Yeah.
Because if and when that fight does happen against Benavidez, I do think you're going to see the real Canelo that we've always loved.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who will stop you.
Yes. I feel the same way.
It's a much more closely contested fight than Munguia versus Canelo, in my opinion.
It's going to be more closely contested, of course, but I still feel like the outcome is going to be the same. I feel like Canelo has a better chance of knocking out Benavidez than he did Munguia. Munguia's chin has been tested.
Munguia's chin is elite.
He's been hurt in almost all of his fights, where, like, you can see him get clipped. His recovery is second to none. He recovers so fast. Look at the uppercut. I don't even think he was hurt when he got. Yeah, he bounced up so quick. Like, Benavidez has been dropped before. Benavidez has been dropped. Munguia coming into the fight never been dropped.
True.
Benavidez has been dropped. Has he been dropped by a power puncher like Canelo? No. So that power is going to be
nor to the body. Yeah.
And nor to the body. So it's going to be a whole different fight. The counter punching, the accuracy of Canelo, and then that power, it's gonna be different. Like Canelo always says this: you never been in a ring with a fighter like him. And, like, that's a very cliche
and everybody
thing.
says it, but it's true with Canelo.
It's true when it comes to Canelo. Man. So, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh yeah, with Canelo. I mean, I just feel like there's the other one by the way, which is an interesting topic of Crawford Canelo. I think that's BS, to be honest. Like, where the hell are they gonna meet? Canelo's not gonna go down to 160. If you want that fight, you got to come up to him at 158. So I think that's, of all the fights, the most unrealistic fight. The only reason why that fight has some validity is because of all the money being funded by Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudis to make that possible.
Yeah.
Aside from that, Berlanga in September, and then after that, who else is there really left? It's got to be Benavidez eventually.
And that's gonna be and that happened. So Berlanga September, Benavidez
The May of following year.
in
right?
Saudi Arabia, Canelo Benavidez Saudi Arabia.
I don't know. I mean, if the money's right, I guess so, right? He wants 150, 200. I remember a couple of years ago, Canelo telling us that he wanted to fight one day in England and stuff. So, that'd be cool. I know, at this point of his career, he can pick and choose, rightfully so. He's earned it. I think he wants to eventually, test out different markets and go see other places and fight in other places. That'd be cool. I think he deserves to do whatever the hell he wants
For
at this
sure.
point.
So right now, if you have Saudi money right now, right? You go to your bank account, you're like, oh, unlimited money. You got Saudi money. What's your dream fight? Like your dream card? Who are you putting on that card?
If
Who's
I had to-
headlining? Who's Cole and
If I had to pick three, realistically, it's Fury, Joshua, fight we've all been wanting to see for a long, long time. 2, based on public demands, Canelo, Benavidez, obviously.
Mhm.
And 3, Inoue versus Junto Nakatani. I really love Junto Nakatani. I'm just a huge fan of his. I don't think he's yet gotten all the credit he deserves. He's still very young, very accomplished already. But I think that would be my card from a business standpoint because one hits the European UK market in that event. The second one is the Mexican and bilingual US, Hispanic audience in Canelo Benavidez. And the third one is the Asian market.
Yeah.
Naoya and Junto. So just thinking from a business perspective, I would do it that way so I can get all markets. And that would be really a global fight.
Oh, for sure.
Global card.
And where are you having that fight at?
Yeah, that's the tough one. I guess neutral ground, right? It would probably be Saudi, right?
Saudi?
Yeah, neutral ground.
Neutral ground would it be Las Vegas or like Madison Square Garden? Boxing Mecca.
I mean, I don't want it to be in Saudi. I'd rather have it be here, obviously, because for us, I mean, that's the hard part as media.
Yeah.
Like, we can't go to Saudi. There's no return on investment for us. I mean, you spend all that money to go out there, and then the return is so little. But I also don't. No matter how much money gets flown into this business from the Saudis, I still don't think the Mecca of boxing will transition out of the United States to over there. I think it's still.
I don't think
here.
so. There's so much history in Vegas and so much history in Madison Square Garden. Those are going to be the two biggest.
Exactly.
Like when somebody goes and fights in Madison Square Garden, man, there's so much history behind that. That's like playing baseball and like going to like the World Series.
Also, to your fan base. I mean, what fan base is more supportive than Mexicans in this sport? Mexicans and Mexican Americans. They're not gonna go out there for that.
No.
Your audience, your demographic, the big business here is here with Mexicans and Mexican Americans.
For sure.
That's the number one in this sport in terms of fan base. And you see it all the time.
What fight are you looking like forward to watching? Like what
low key coming up actually, it flies under the radar. Raymond Ford against Nick Ball. It's a 126 fight.
126.
I think it's a competitive fight. I like Ray Ford, dude from Camden, New Jersey. Ray Savage Ford. If you don't know, check him out. Solid guy. I think he's just lightning quick. Immense skill set, but it's the speed that is. It's incomparable to many other people. I just think that's a very good fight at 126. Aside from that, I don't think it's as good of a fight, but May 18th, Navarrete versus Berenchik. I mean, I like Navarrete a lot. I think he just has such an awkward, unorthodox type of style. You never know where the punches are coming from. He's a very fan-friendly fighter to watch. So anytime he fights, I will always tune in pretty much.
For sure. What are your thoughts on the Pitbull Cruz and Rayu fight?
Oh, man. Yeah, at the August 3rd, the August 3rd press conference we had in New York a couple weeks ago, I think Pitbull low-key kind of flustered Rayo in that face-off. Like, Rayo went to go shake his hand, and then Pitbull didn't.
Yeah.
You don't see that disrespect from Pitbull a lot of times. He's a nice, humble dude. Even in the Rolly build-up, he was so humble. So I was a little shocked by that Pitbull did that. But also very intrigued that he did that because I'm like, damn, they're seeing a different type of Pitbull right now.
Yeah, is he coming for the knockout? And he always does come. He's a forward. He's a forward fighter. Very sound defense, but
I think that's the reason why I lean towards Pitbull. I like Raul Valenzuela a lot. I think he's got a very bright future, but in this fight, I would just lean towards Pitbull for many reasons. The main one being the true Mexican style, forward aggression, head down, all-out war stylistically that he brings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
for
give
sure.
the advantage towards Pitbull because of that.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like you know what you're getting with Pitbull, but his chin he has a good chin.
Yeah.
He has a good his defense is he never drops his hands. Like
The high guard.
yeah, and I don't know how he trains that, but it looks like his arms don't get tired. Like they never come down.
True.
And then he's just always aggressive. Throwing that overhand right is very sneaky. You know it's coming. You know he's coming, and he's throwing, but it's sneaky.
What I like about Pitbull a lot too, outside of the ring, is in the post-fight of the Rolly, win, the win he had over Rolly. I think seeing Pitbull come out of his shell, becoming a little bit more personable, and just, he's a quiet guy. He was always a very quiet guy. I think a lot of people saying, oh, he can be the next face of Mexican boxing. Maybe there's some validity to it just because, yeah, he's an entertaining fighter. He's a fan-friendly fighter. But in order to do that, I do think he needs to come out of his shell and start learning a little bit more of English too. I mean, we saw with Canelo. Canelo is so entertaining. The English-speaking Canelo is a devious dude, bro. Like English Canelo is dangerous. Like he's funny, he's dangerous. I mean, it's funny as hell. So if Pitbull can replicate that to some capacity, I think his stardom goes through the roof. Yeah,
and he's been pretty good at riding and maneuvering the fame after the Tank fight.
Yeah.
So and he's fighting. He's staying active. So it's good. I do favor Pitbull in that fight though. Ryu is really good. I think so, especially after the way he defended his loss.
Oh yeah,
man, like that was a performance. But I just Pitbull's forward aggression and just like his fucking, he's an animal, bro. Like he's
literally a Pitbull. Bro.
Yeah, he's an animal. Like I just favor him just because of that. Like just because of his mindset and his don't give a F attitude.
The dark horse in that division, though, to me, the real danger that nobody wants to mention his name, Subriel Matias.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is one scary dude, bro. Like his skill set is all around fantastic, but he's high risk, low reward.
Oh yeah,
for all those fighters.
And I seen him because he fought on the Benavidez card in Vegas, and he was losing the first couple rounds. But he just stays in the pocket.
He's like Tank, slow starter a little bit,
and then he just let it go, and then he started building, and you could just start building, and then all of a sudden you're looking like, oh, he's not coming out.
Yeah,
he's not coming out, and boom, he never came out. The guy never came out. So I don't know. It's a good fight. He needs to. I don't know if he has a fight. I don't think he has a fight coming up.
Yeah, he does against Liam Paro.
Oh, Liam Paro, yeah.
Forgetting the date, I think it's in June, if I'm not mistaken, in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Liam Paro, solid, always comes to fight. Sort of like a lesser version of Tim Tszyu, right? But Subriel Matias.
Yeah,
he's a dog.
What's next for Teofimo Lopez?
That's a good question. Yeah. I would like to see if okay, I'll put it this way. Of all the champions at 140, the one who would sign the dotted line and take the fight against Subriel Matias for unification would be Teofimo. I think he has the most confidence of any of the champions at 140 outside of, Subriel. And he would be willing to take that risk, I think. Teofimo fears no man in my eyes. But I think it all depends. We've seen, if you look back at Teofimo's resume, the last up until just before Cambosos to now, he's wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Sometimes he looks incredible. The next fight he looks average.
Yeah.
Incredible, average. Sandro Martin, average. He squeaked by on that one.
Yeah.
Recent fight, incredible. Whatever. Like, I think it all depends on what version of Teofimo we see.
Well, technically, so he fought Sander. That was what. Then he fought Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
And put on a class.
Yeah. Then Pedro Campa, I think it was.
No.
That was his first one at 140 was Pedro Campa.
And then it was Sander Martin. And then it was Josh Taylor. And then the last fight was, what's his name? What's his name? I forget his name. It was on a Thursday night, though. It was a Thursday night fight. They were running around from each other.
Oh, Jermaine?
Jermaine Ortiz.
Yeah.
Ortiz.
Yeah. I forgot.
So
the fact, yeah.
so he had a John
Yeah.
Taylor, a good fight. Ortiz, a bad fight. Now let's make that let's make the Matias fight. So thinking of a
I
good
don't
one.
even discredit that one too much because like Ortiz, Teofimo looked like he was really,
Trying.
Ortiz was just running around.
Yeah.
That's my point. Like, sure, could Teofimo have cut off the ring and done that part?
Stop headhunting.
He should have. He
was headhunting a lot in that
but
fight.
I don't think he just wanted to chase he didn't want to chase the dude around, bro. Like, Ortiz just didn't come to fight in that capacity. He ran around.
No, for sure. I agree with that one. There's a lot of things that he could have did that could have like made him engage more. Cut the ring off, stop headhunting.
Yeah.
Throw the body shot or aim for the shoulder. So when he does duck and move out, you're
for any guy
clipping
who moves
the
like
head.
that, exactly. The head moves so much, but the body stays the same.
Yeah. So you aim for the body to the shoulder. Stop aiming for the head. Because if you're aiming for the body and shoulder, you're gonna hit when he's ducking and he's moving. You're gonna hit something.
Exactly.
So then you're wearing him down that way. But I get it. He was getting frustrated in there. He didn't want to. He wanted to fight. And
yeah.
But
he wasn't gonna chase the guy down, which I get. But at the same time, it's a fight. So
I agree.
Come on.
So, any last words you want to leave?
I think boxing's in a very good space. I mean, take aside obviously the bad negative things, the PED stuff, whatever, and all that. Boxing is in a fantastic space right now, bro. Like in these last couple of years, especially. I mean, it's flourishing. And, even with the Saudi injection of money, whatever, however long that lasts, which I also think is going to be somewhat of a problem because eventually when that money dries out and they don't want to pay anymore for boxing, you have all these guys who are taking these massive fights and doing the fights we want to see, but at such high payrolls that eventually when that dries out, all these other promotional companies will be like, we're not paying you that. And nobody's going to want to fight each other anymore. But we'll get to that when that comes. For now, boxing is a great space. I think we have a fantastic amount of fights coming up. Good, solid fights back and forth. A side, B sides are pretty even, if not the same. I'm just happy to see where this goes. I mean, I think I'm just very proud to be a boxing fan at this point, The
last 2 years has changed boxing. The last 2 years, boxing's pretty much, I want to say all the way back to where it was, but they're actually making fights that they're supposed to make. This year started off kind of slow. Compared to like how last year was an amazing year in boxing.
Yeah.
This year started kind of slow and it's picking up again. Now we're getting these fights in June. We're having there's gonna be a lot of fights in June. And
there's always those slow periods. Like typically, the November through January of every year is always the slowest time in boxing. With the fights not being made and it's kind of a break essentially from business side of things. But it's been fantastic and looking forward. I mean, August 3rd card, I think, might be one of the best cards we've ever seen in the United States from top to bottom. Almost every fight there can be a main event. Yeah. So we have so much to look forward to as boxing fans, as boxing media. It's great. What a time to be alive in the sport right now.
That's for sure. That boxing card is the best boxing card ever. On paper, that's the best boxing card ever created. Ever. On paper.
Yeah.
So now we'll see. We'll get out there and we'll go ahead and see the fights, how they play out. But everybody on there, from what I've seen them fight before, they're gonna fight,
100%.
and it's gonna be a war, and so hopefully it lives up to the names that they're supposed to produce, and man, just enjoy that shit. That's it.
With all these things right now, bro. Like enjoy everything, even with like the fighters with Canelo. Like I know people say like Canelo gets so much hate, but you know what? Enjoy it while it lasts, bro, because that guy is generational. I mean, so many of us grew up watching him. Enjoy it while you can because you don't know when you're going to get somebody like that again.
No.
So just right now, boxing is such a great space with the fighters, with the fights, with the money being injected into it. Enjoy it all.
On that note, we out. Full Sports. My name is Mike Theory.
Sebastian Milo with the Boxing Mob. Appreciate the support.
Yes, sir. That's it. We out.